What? Senate Rule 29.10. The overall rule deals with the referral of bills in the California State Senate. And in 2910A, it says that if the analysis of proposed floor amendments to a bill other than the budget bill discloses that the amendments create a new bill or rewrite the current form of a bill, then upon the adoption of those amendments, the bill is to be reprinted and referred to the Committee on Rules for further action. Under subdivision B of 2910, it provides that when amendments rewrite a bill, that the Committee on Rules shall either refer the bill to a standing committee or hold the bill in committee. If the bill is referred to a standing committee, then the standing committee is required to meet and act upon the bill no later than the next scheduled hearing of that committee. If the bill is referred to a standing committee during a time when standing committees are not meeting, then the standing committee is required to meet and act upon the bill as directed by the Rules Committee, and in any event within 2 days of receipt of the bill. When the committee meets, the committee by a vote of a majority of its membership may do one of three things. The policy committee can hold the bill, return the bill to the Senate floor for consideration, or re-refer the bill to the fiscal committee under Joint Rule 10.5. If a bill is referred to a standing committee during the time when no committee may meet, the Rules Committee is required to grant permission to suspend the joint rules to allow that standing committee to meet as the Rules Committee will direct. If a bill is referred to the Rules Committee on the last legislative day preceding a joint recess, either at the end of the first year, the odd year of the session, or the second year or even numbered year, then the Rules Committee shall meet and act upon the bill before adjourning for the recess. The bill may be referred to a standing committee, in which case the standing committee has to meet and act upon the bill before the House adjourns for the recess. If the bill is referred to the Rules Committee on any of the 3 legislative days preceding February 1 or September 1 of an even numbered year, then the Rules Committee and the standing committee to which the bill is referred is required to meet and act upon the bill on the same legislative day. Now, when amendments are adopted to create a new bill, the bill is to be referred to the Rules Committee, and the Rules Committee, by a vote of a majority of its membership, is required, or I'm sorry, has the discretion to either 1, hold the bill, or 2, refer the bill to the appropriate standing committee, and then the joint rules will be followed for dispensing with it. Under subdivision, that was subdivision C of Senate Rule 2910. In subdivision D of Senate Rule 2910, it says that if the analysis of a bill, again, other than a budget bill, is carved out, that's returned to the Senate for a vote on concurrence. So this is dealing with the prior rules that we discussed, dealt with bills in their house of origin. Now we're dealing with SBs that were amended in the Assembly. So if it's returned to the Senate for a vote on concurrence and the amendments, the analysis discloses that the Assembly amendments created a new bill or rewrote the bill that was passed by the Senate, the bill is required to be referred to the Rules Committee, and the Rules Committee, by a vote of a majority, of course, may 1, refer the bill to an appropriate standing committee, 2, recommend that the bill be taken up for consideration of the Assembly amendments, or 3, they may hold the bill in the Rules Committee. Now, also under subdivision D, If the bill is referred to a standing committee, then that standing committee is required to meet and act upon the bill no later than the next scheduled hearing of the committee. If the bill is referred to the standing committee during a time when standing committees are not allowed to meet, then the standing committee is required to meet and act upon the bill as directed by the Rules Committee, and regardless, within 2 legislative days of having received that bill. And that standing committee then may do one of 2 things in its discretion. It may either, 1, hold the bill, or 2, return the bill to the Senate floor for consideration of the bill as it was amended in the Assembly. And now, if the bill is referred to a standing committee during the time when no committee may meet, then the Rules Committee is required to grant permission to suspend the joint rule and allow that particular standing committee to meet as directed by the Rules Committee. And finally, if the bill is referred to the Rules Committee on the last legislative day preceding a joint recess, then the Rules Committee and the standing committee to which the bill was referred is required to meet and act upon the bill before they adjourn for the recess. Under subdivision E, an amendment to rewrite a bill is defined as the following. If the amendment 1 is germane to the previous version of the bill, but adds a new subject to the bill that is different from but related to the contents of the bill, or is not described in the next subdivision and makes a change of fiscal or policy significance that may be appropriate for review by a standing committee. Under subdivision F, then, of Senate Rule 2910, it describes an amendment as creating a new bill if the amendment changes the subject of a bill to a new or different subject. So here in Senate Rule 2910, these are mandatory provisions. They do differentiate between SBs amended in the House of Origin after having passed an initial committee, and SBs that were amended in the other house, in the Assembly, and that are coming back for concurrence. And again, they apply to where the amendments deal with the same subject matter, but they add a new subject to the bill that's different from, but related to the current bill. 2, they make a change of fiscal or policy significance that the Rules Committee determines is appropriate for review by a standing committee. And the 3rd is where the amendment changes the bill to an entirely new or different subject matter. So those are the 3 possible tests for why a bill would get referred back to the Senate Rules Committee.